Greetings, fellow potters. Rodamont here. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story Primitive Survival. Episode 27. Making Fireclay for an Oven. We got a lot of extra copper, which is great. So we're not going to have any bronze problems for a bit. That stuff's hardened and cold. Terrific. I didn't move my forge. I was looking around. It's like, where's the forge? This bad boy has got to come with me too. Wonder how the salt's doing? Salt should be nearly done. I think the last time I checked, there was like 2.3 days left on it, so it's probably pretty close. In fact, to satisfy my curiosity, let's go check on it before I start to do the bronze hooks. Okay, half a day. So the reason for that is you can smoke food, you can pickle food. So there is the concept of smoked. So like a smoked red meat is going to last for 46 days. You can also cure it, which lasts for 3.4 years, which is smoked then salted. Right? So if you don't want, like, food to ever go bad, because 3.4 years in a food cellar is, like, mind-bogglingly long. It would be, like, 10 years of, like, you have smoked, cured meats in there or whatever. Like, functionally speaking, it's just not going to go bad within within a time frame of, like, a single run. Especially if then you, like, on top of that, crock it or something like that. And then you've also got cured healthy primate, which is a healing item. So that is prepared healthy primate with salt, and the prepared healthy primate is horsetail, which I do not have, which is a problem. A bucket in primate. If I wanted horsetail, I could hypothetically meta it by making a whole lot of, like, farmland, but I don't think I'm going to go that route. I'll, like, go honey poultices or something. So honey poultice would be getting sulfur and honey from beehives with, like, linen for bandages. And that's only, like, when you really need to heal, because it's kind of expensive. Well, still no water, huh? Yeah, whatever. It'd be like that. Sometimes I have noticed it requires, like, a save and load for it even to register. So the follow-up question I have for you guys is where to build the kitchen adjacent to the smithy for mechanical power reasons. Now, as far as mechanical power reasons, the only thing that we're going to need to use mechanical power in the kitchen is the quarn, which easily could just be in the smithy and not near the kitchen. It's not a big deal. I just wanted to point out. The other spot for it would be built into or next to the food cellar. And those are the only two options I want to offer, because they're the most logical. Where the mechanical power is for flour, or milled grains, I should say, because it's not always flour, or where food is being stored. And while you vote on that, I'm going to try to do the save and load for the well, because I have noticed the wells are sometimes a little fussy, to say the least. And no, I am not offering over the water between both. If I wanted that, I would have included that. I do not want that. I thought I made that pretty clear. This is a role-playing series. You would not build a structure on a lake unless you had to for some reason. Still no water, huh? I'm going to send this bucket down. And I spoke to, at the start of the stream, at length about I'm not considering fantasy goals. Full stop. With no room to negotiate. I have not reset torches in a while, so let's go ahead and do that. Nope, I didn't make it in time for that one. I have to make new torches, it's fine. Finally! Wow, so much burnt firewood goes into this meal. But alright, that should cook up too. And before this gets cold... we are making, oh, there's even bucket handles. Where is... oh, there it is. Tin bronze hooks. And I know I'm going to need 2 more ingots for this to finish. So that's one of the reasons why I went to grab the copper. So that I could, make the second batch of bronze. And with any luck, we'll split enough metals from this batch in order to make some arrowheads or something. Oh, you know what? I had mentioned wanting to use up my copper. So let's smith with the copper to, like, actually break it on purpose. And then to salvage the metal for, like, other projects. And hopefully this stays hot enough. Because I was a little late in throwing this on the forge. Or pulling it from the forge, I should say. So, the reason for this smoker is so that I can, because saltwater, like, has such a lag time that I didn't necessarily, and it also required to be smoked beforehand. Being able to hunt in batches with the butchering bags, and then, process all of the meat in a way that it doesn't get spoiled. Because, you know, if you were in a primitive survival situation, you don't want wasted food. Especially not meat. I mean, other wasted grain or something, you know, wasted vegetable matter might make sense to compost, but like wasted meat, yeah, no, that's avoid that at all costs. So, that was the idea behind this project, I suppose. So I got 8 of the 16 hooks we need. And I got 8 bronze bits. which then we can turn into other things later on. So let's get another batch of bronze coming up. So that would be 36 and 4. And the other thing I just realized is I'm going to want some firewood over here so I can preheat the stove with cheaper fuels. Or preheat the crucible, rather. So I'll steal some of the firewood for there. Where to put firewood? Actually, this corner makes the most sense. Like, farthest from the flames. Okie dokie. Well, let's go get some of that, organ-slaying meat mix. My god. The amount of satiety in one bowl is, like, disgusting. I wonder, like, if it was all prime meat, it'd probably be even worse. Or better, I guess. It really depends on how you measure. There we go. Nice and full. And it does look like, next to the food cellar is going to be where the kitchen goes. Got it. Sounds good to me. Is my offal done? 12 hours. Okay. Because it would be pretty cool to, like, make organ offal meats as well. Because, you know, we won't want to waste anything. As I feared, this has not made any water yet. Even though it has a 14 liter a day output rate. So, you know, that's cool. And then the other things we need for the hook, smoker hook, would be boards and sticks. That's pretty straightforward. So 16 sticks and 8 boards. Might as well get that while we wait. All right, done. I think it's... Is it 3 coal or 4 coal to get it liquid? I guess we'll see in a minute. Ah, more eggs. And I've also been pulling up random shells, which I'm just collecting for no good reason. The primitive survival weir mod does allow for generating shells in that way, which is like pretty unique because normally you can't generate shells in vanilla Vintage Story. So if you're looking for a whole bunch of shells, you could just like mass weir trap. Okay, it is 3 pieces of gold. Sweet. Waste not, want not. So one of the things I want to do while we wait for the ingots to solidify so that I can create more hooks is the other part of the kitchen, I would say, would be an oven. So clay ovens allow you to make breads and pies and the like. And in order to make a clay oven, you do need Fireclay, I believe. Why isn't it? Vintage Stories Wiki is not telling me that, though. Clay oven is made through clay forming using Fireclay. Yep. So it requires 69 Fireclay to form the clay oven. And if we want one of them, we are going to need to make Fireclay. So the current priority right now is make a smoker rack and Fireclay for a clay oven. So the flint here smelts into flint chunks at 1,000 Celsius. And that is going to be required for the Fireclay. Oops, I bumped into that. Also, I need to put the fish away. So in order to make Fireclay, here's the recipe. Oops. Fireclay. So Fireclay can be red clay or blue clay, or a mix of red and blue clay, with the powdered flint. So when the flint chunks come out, after heating them, they'll need to be ground up in the quarn, and then they can form Fireclay. And we'll need a... So we're making homemade Fireclay. And this is the same process that we would need if we wanted bloomeries to be able to forge iron, you know, or refractory bricks for kilns. You can find Fireclay in the wild, but it's often easier just to make it. While those heat up, I'm headed back to the salt barrels. They should be done by now, I suspect. Nope, not quite. I'm going to leave the wooden bucket here because I'm planning on doing another batch of salt. Wouldn't be a bad idea at some point to just get more barrels. So that I can do larger batches, but it's not something I need to handle right now. I've had virtually no pests, so I'm just gonna leave the gates of the gates open for the garden. So I have a mod that keeps the heat high. Normally in Vintage Story, the temperature of your fire pit will reset every time it processes one stack, which is like horrible, and I have a mod that stops that from happening because it's honestly a really stupid game mechanic if you ask me. Now I will need more flint because I'm using up all my flint for clay making. I could make, like, simple flint tools out of andesite instead, but, like, they aren't as good. So I'm gonna go on a bit of a flint hunt here. Just picking up the whatever stones I can find around me. Oh, hey, Earthworm. I'm gonna name you Jim. Let you live. I sort of wish the flint that exists within rock, within a host rock, if you mined it up, you got like a ridiculous amount, as if it was like the entirety of the host rock. Because the flint you can find in mountains and whatnot, but like it's labor intensive enough to mine out that like generally I don't. Oh, Jesus. Coach Whip. Hey, you frickin' thing. Get back here. Stupid pit viper. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Who won? You didn't bite me. Fight me, you die. Although, to be fair, in a survival setting, picking a fight with a pit viper for... Oh, there's another one. For no reason would be a bad... Ow! Frickin' that's why. I got the shakes! And this is why you don't fight the snakes. You think flint boulders should be a thing? That'd be pretty cool, too. Now, the good news is, because of my, like, pretty good nutrition, I have enough HP that, like, I can get bit by those things and have them not immediately super murder me. But, yeah, that can suck. I'm gonna stick a few more flint chunks in there and burn off the rest of the stack of a flint that I found, and I'll just have to go more flint finding later. So I won one, lost one against the snakes. I'd like to sort of. I'm gonna leave one more charcoal in there. No, it has 11 stacks. I'll put the whole stack in, whatever. Alright, let's go ahead and form the last 8 hooks. Those are still... They're hardened, but they're still hot. Yeah, that well does not want to work. Finding venomous snakes out in the wild? Oh yeah, when I lived in North Carolina, that was like a regular occurrence for me. I'd like be mowing the lawn, I'd hit one. I'd like take out my trash, I'd hit one. I raked my lawn. Oh god, that one was horrifying. I raked some leaves behind a palmetto tree, or a magnolia rather. Yeah, magnolia. And there was like a clutch of copperhead babies or whatever. But there were so many. Like, under this one tree, there was a good, I don't know, 20 copperheads? I was like, nope, this sucks. Luckily, baby copperheads have, like, neon tails. Like, I kid you not, it looks like one of those party glow stick neon things. They have these bright neon tails. I think they're supposed to be, like, bait tails, so that if they get attacked by predators, like, the predators attack the tail. I don't know. But, it's pretty obvious when you find, baby copperheads versus, like, other baby snakes, just because of how freaking bright their tails are. Whereas, like, an adult copperhead, blends into, like, downed leaf so well, it's scary. And, unlike rattlesnakes that are very polite to make a lot of noise when you get close to them, copperheads don't make any noise until you're on top of them, and then they get real pissed and, like, fight you. And I don't like that about them. I hate snakes that, like, use camouflage, because, like, Hey, I'm not trying to mess with you, Copperhead. I would avoid you. I just can't see you. Not until I'm, like, standing on top of you and you're, like, pissed and biting. And yes, I speak from experience. It's, I've never been bit myself, but I've had a lot of close calls. So these are the last 4 that I need to make the smoker rack. And this is, I suppose, part of the kitchen goal, right? You know, you guys voted for me to make a kitchen, and smoker rack is part of it. And then the clay oven is the other part. So there's not a lot of physical objects that you would need necessarily for a kitchen, unless you're like gonna get way into micro block chiseling, which I am not, because having an aesthetically pleasing kitchen is not really a survival goal. But so the clay ovens are a default vanilla thing that you have in Vintage Story, right? They exist outside of mods, and it's really, other than like grain porridges, it's the primary way to get your grain fulfillment through baking breads. So you take grains, rice, wheat, you know, rice, spelt, flax, amaranth, whatever, and you grind them down, you add water, you create flour, you know, sorta, and then you stick that in the bread oven and let it rise. Same with pies and the like. And then the only other real things you need in the kitchen in Vintage Story would be like a quern, if you want to grind up the grains, and then, dang it, come on, go in the, and then, once you have a quern, and once you have the clay oven, like, that's pretty much all that you ever put in a kitchen, other than maybe like a table, because you form bread on tables, I guess. All right, so there's all the hooks. Perfect. Let's make the rack. Smoking rack. Oh, I need to pick one resin up. No, I said I was leaving those open. And then we have all of the flint chunks ready to be ground up in a minute. And then I have hides to scrape and move. I have salt barrels to empty out. So there's a lot of like base keeping to do before I start really building the kitchen. What? Oh, what? I was trying to fill up the pattern here, and my character decided to huck the boards rather than to place them. I'm doing it again. Fine, I'll just right-click place. There it is. So here's the smoking rack, and the way this works is you place it down, and then the tile immediately below it has to be a fire. And then you place meat on the hooks, and you can smoke the meat. So, I'm going to start smoking the meat that I have now, because I have a bunch of meat that I want to process before they get spoiled. And then, once I have a kitchen, I'll replace and move the smoking rack into the kitchen. And actually, I have just about the right amount of firewood for this. You need, I think, like 20 firewood to fully smoke meats. And there's HUD indicators of like how it works. So you'll see that in a second. So then we grab our meat that we want smoked, and we stick it on the hooks. Just like that. And you can mix and match, I believe, the types of meat. Light the fire. And then when it's working, you can see needs to be smoked for another 4 hours. Place a campfire directly under to start smoking. So obviously it's working. So that's the way the smoker works. Perfect. I'm going to get a little bit more firewood just in case, like, that... Because you don't want the fire to run out. So I'm going to get a little bit more firewood just to make sure that if I'm running out of time on the clock and I need more firewood, I have firewood available to me, because I don't want to ruin a batch of smoked meats for no reason. And also, it's, yeah. There we go. And I'll add 2... Oh, wrong fire. Oh, too late. I did 1 more for good measure. To that other fire, let's start boiling more water. There we go. All right. To the other project. Getting the ground, the flint chunks that we essentially fractured in the fire, ground up into... Oh, well, actually, before we do that, let's do the soaked hides. Scrape them down. And then sticking them in the weak tannin. For 3 days. And then we'll do the salt. Oh, 9.9. Okay, I'll be back. I'm out of flint, though. Yeah, there we go. Just don't want to get bit by another pit viper while I'm looking for flint. That's not a fun experience, you know? Suppose I could have just ran. Maybe that will be my my modus operandi in the future. When snake, run. Because, like, the meat ain't... Unless I'm starving, the meat is not really worth the fight. I keep forgetting I'm not even bothering with that. Alright, so... We're down to about... half... Yeah, okay, I might even have too much, too much firewood in there for the smoke. I would say, like, erring on the side of the caution's really, honestly, not a bad idea. Because, like, having a batch fail because you were miserly and didn't add enough firewood is, like, way more expensive in the long run than erring on the side of caution and burning more firewood than you need. Because unless you, like, live in the desert where there isn't firewood, like, it's not a finite resource you really have to manage carefully. Alright, back to the grind. So the lime wash barrel is still ready to do more lime wash. Would not be a terrible idea to continue hunting sometime in the near future for even more leather. Take it for someone that has played a lot of Vintage Story, you need a lot more leather than you think you do. Like, there's just always more uses for leather. And especially in the mod set that I have, there are quivers and weapon sheaths. There are, obviously, backpacks and butchery bags and armor and clothing. I mean, it's a very versatile material that I'll be putting to good use in every possible way. So, now that the lime wash barrel's done, you know, we can... There's 3 days until the weak tendon barrels free up. So in the next 3 days, getting more leather going, or in the next 2 days, because it takes about a day for the lime wash to be done, getting a batch of leather going through might make sense. But I won't pivot away from building a clay oven and a kitchen. There, which one's the empty one? This one? One hour left. Plenty of wood left. Perfect. So some of the... I'll probably need more red clay for this, but I might as well make as much fire clay as possible, because any additional fire clay over what I need for the clay oven can just become bloomery brick type stuff. But here it is. You just surround red clay with the powdered flint to make fire clay. And I need 70 fire clay in order to be able to afford the clay oven. So the smoker rack is done. We are going to make fire clay for a clay oven. And then I'll probably try to reset the wellhead after I'm done with the clay oven. Huh. It's interesting. The survival handbook really doesn't have a lot of stuff about the clay oven. Normally it has more info than like the nothing it supplied. And then while I'm heading over there, I'm going to want to get some more flint if possible. I'm so bad at identifying flint versus like other stone though. So that's obviously enough for the clay oven, but I'm going to use up all the flint chunks and just make a big old batch of fire clay now. Because it makes sense to run a batch of fire clay bricks for bloomery blocks. Wow, I can't even speak. Because most of the bloomery manufacturing process is just like waiting for pit kilns. So it's not a lot of labor and a lot of wait time. Wow, I had more than I thought. I didn't do the math, but let's not dig that far. I don't want to be fighting water. Okay, I need to make another shovel. Maybe at some point I will actually bronze smith myself up a bronze knife and a bronze shovel and like other bronze tools that I'm missing, because I'm missing a whole lot of tools and I know it. It's just I'm trying to save myself the time by having just more disposable tools, which honestly really doesn't save me a lot of time, because the higher tier tools work faster at excavation and mining and all that. I just haven't made the time for them yet. There we go. That is the last batch. So that's all our fire clay. All right. Now that we got all that fire clay, let's return back to base and start clay forming the oven. So there will be a new... When we go to clay form, there will be a new thing that we can do with the fire clay that we couldn't do with the red clay. And same is true of blue clay, which is like to make other shapes unique to fire clay. And I'm taking a roundabout path back because I was hoping to find some more flint, but our quest for flint's probably going to have to wait for daylight. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story Primitive Survival, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow survivors.